Hello friend, welcome back. In our previous video here we successfully designed our page, and that is our layout is now perfect. So our logo is visible, some of the text is visible, and that is our print date, right? So now after that I want to take another row, that means a table row, like here that is our and first row, right? So after that and first row I take another row, I take another div and I put another class as a row. Okay, and also I better put some of the note for you. That will be as a second row. Okay, so that will be as a second row, and that will be as a and second row. I make it as a second and make it as a second. Okay, that means the start second row and the and second row. Perfect. So into the row area, after that I want to take one of the table. So after that I take as a table, I make it as a table, and then and this table, and with the table area I put one of the border, then it will be better. I put as a one border and put on the style for the border color. Okay, border color. Okay, border color I want to use it, and I just make it as a white as a 6F. Okay, so I use it as a 6F. Perfect. And then I want to use one of the white for this table as a 100%. Okay, I make it as 100%, and then I use some of the cell padding. Okay, I use that cell padding as a, right now I use it as a 8, and then I want to also use it as a cell spacing. So sorry, so that will be as a cell spacing. I make that cell spacing as a 2 right now. Okay, so that will be for our table. And into the table area, first of all I want to get all that our data. So I take one of the PHP blog and this PHP blog. So everything will be very clear to you, friend, that is very much interconnected, because I take one of the variable as a assign. Okay, when I run it, then everything will be very clear to you. So with this assign, I name it as a variable assign student. Okay, so that will be the assign student, and then from our assign student, for the assign student that have also one of the table, that is the assign student. Okay, so right now better I copy it, because here we have to use it directly. So I simply paste it. So I want to access our assign student table. Assign student, for the model I have created that model name, I want to check it. There is a assign student model, right? You can see that is a assign student model. So now I want to actually access this model. So that is our assign student. So with this assign student, I want to get one of the condition as a where, and into the where condition I put one of the condition our year. Okay, year underscore ID. That means if you go to show you everything, actually very connected. If you go to our assign, if you go to that our assign, that is actually assign student. Okay, so that is our assign student. If you go to that assign student, and into the assign student, here you can see there is a year ID, there is a class ID. So now I want to get all that our year ID, that will be our requested all that year ID. Okay, so that means first of all I use that as a year ID. So this year ID, and now this year ID will be what? This I already get all the data. I pass this data with the all mark, right? So with into this all mark, they have also one of the year, right? So that is actually also one of the year ID. So that will be our this requested year ID. That means if you want to access this requested year ID, we have to get it with this mark, right? So now I simply want to use that as a first index marked. I copy it. So that will be our year ID. Our year ID will be with this all, that means that with this all mark. First of all, that will be our first index data as a 0 index data, and after that with this we have to use that our requested field as a year ID, right? Year underscore ID. I hope, friend, it's very much clear to you, because here I pass that all that our year ID, that means I requested this year ID. Okay, and also I want to do the same things for our this class ID. So this class ID will be the another condition. I put another condition as a where our same. In particular, this assign student table that have also one of the field as a class ID. So this class ID will be our this all mark 0 index class ID. So that is a pretty much simple things we have to apply. That means the class underscore ID, make that sure spelling is correct, and then after this with our all mark, okay, all marks. So because of all, from here I pass all that our data with the our all marks, and here I pass it with the compact. Right now we can able to use it in our PDF, right? So now with this all marks, our first index will be as a 0. That means 0 array data, and then I want to use it as a class ID, class underscore ID, and then I want to get that our first data. That means the y specific 1 row data. Okay, so that is our condition. I hope, friend, it's very much clear to you. And after that, I want to load this everything on here. So if you want to load it, I take one of the tr, that means the table row. I take one of the td, okay, that means the table data, and I better put some of the wide as a 50% to 50%. I make it as a 50%, okay, and then I want to take another one, another td. So into the first td area, I want to display that student ID name. That means the student ID. So if you want to access that student ID, what exactly you have to do? You have to actually get this data. So I have already passed it everything on here, mark, and then there is student mark. So with this student mark, they have also one of the field. If you go to the student mark, into the student mark, there is actually the field as a ID number, right? So now I want to use that ID number. So that will be here. Okay, that will be here. I want to use it. So that means everything, every data I pass it with our this all mark. This all mark means the dollar all mark, and then I pass that first array data. First array data means the 0 data, 0 index data, and then I want to access our field name as ID underscore number. Okay, so that is actually ID number. Make the sure spelling is correct. And after that, I want to take another one. I copy it and then paste it, because here we have to also add multiple things. I want to use that student ID. I want to use that student roll number. Okay, I use that as a roll number. So this roll number will be with our this assigned student. Okay, so that is our assigned student. So with this assigned student, I want to access direct our roll number, that is our field name, as a role. Okay, so I simply use it as a role. Perfect. And then I want to use that name. I make it as a name. So that will be the name. So name will be our, here we have to get this name from our which table? We have to get this name from our user table, right? So if you want to get this name, that means first of all our first index data, and into the index area, if you go to our student marks, into the student marks here, if you go to that student marks, so that is our student marks, right? So here I have already created that relation with our user model as a student, right? So with this student, I want to access our user table field name as a name, right? So now it's pretty much simple things. With this student method, I want to access our user table field name as a name. That means the name should be visible, right, friend? I hope it's very much clear to you. And then I want to use that class. Okay, I use that class will be the same. Class will be our first index data, and into the first index, if you go to again our student mark, into the student mark for the class, I have created that relation. You can see I have created that relation with our student class as a student class, right? So with this student class, I want to get this student class name. So that will be our this student class. With this student class, I want to access that our field name as a name, right? That means all that our student class field name. If you go there, I think you already remembered that part. So if you go to that student class, you can see into the student class our field name as a name. So we shall be getting that name. Okay, friend. And then I want to use that as a session. That means the ER actually. So I make it as a session. Okay, session will be the same, with this all fast mark, and with the fast mark here I have already created another relationship. Because of all, here I am actually using that student marks, right? So into the student marks, if you go here, you can see I have already created that relationship for the year as a year. So now with this year, I want to access our student year table name field. So that will be as a year, and with this year I want to access our field name as a name. Perfect. So friend, that's all you have to do. Okay, that's all you have to do. Now let's check this out. If you now click as a save all, and now go there, that means here click as a refresh. Yes, you can see it's now perfectly getting our student ID. At this one, there is a roll number, there is a name is visible, perfectly class name is visible, and session means year is also visible. So now I want to do I want to add as a call MD6. Okay, that is actually our row. That means that is our first row. So here I take one of the table. So that is our first, that means the second row. Into the second row area I take another div. Better I add another div and I put one of the call. That means a call MD6. Okay, I make it as a call MD6. So that will be as we started, and now I cut it. So that is into the call MD6. That is our total table. So that is our total table, and after that I finish it. So I make it as a and call MD. Okay, MD6. So that will be as and call MD6, and better I put that note for you. And now I want to take another call MD6, because there is actually the 12th column, right? So now I want to take another one. I copy it, and after that I take another one, and here I have to finish it. So that is our another call MD6. Okay friend, so now if you click as a save all, and now if you go there, click as a refresh, yeah, it's perfect. So now that is actually one part, and here I want to load our another things. So like first of all, I want to take one other table. Okay, I take another table, and table will be just like that same. Better I copied this table. Okay, I copied this table from here. That is our first call MD. That means a call MD6, and here there is a and it, and then there is another call MD6. After this I paste it. So also I want to make it as a another call MD6 and on here, and there is our another row. Perfect. So right now friend, that is our table. We have to finish this table. So I just simply finish this table. Okay, and then into the table area I make it as a border one. Our color will be same, everything will be just like same. So now I want to take another T head. Okay, I take the T head, and then into the T head area I take one of the TR. Into the TR, and then I take as a T head. That means the table head will be as a letter. Okay, letter grade. I want to display that letter grade. I want to display here as a mark. I make it as a marks. Okay, marks interval, marks interval, and then the grade point. Okay, so that will be as a grade point. So that will be all that our table head, and after that I want to take another T body. So that will be as a T body. Okay, so into the T body area I want to add one of the for loop. So that means one of the for each loop we have to add, because here I have to actually multiple with a lot of the things. So I show you, like I just put on the for each. I add that for each. Into the for each area I have already get all that our grades. If you go to our student, that is the student sheet, here you can see I have already get all that our marks grade data, and I take the things with this variable, and here I also pass it in our PDF page with the compact, right? So now I want to use this all grades. So I copy it into the for each. I make it as all grades. So that will be as all grades as, okay, I name it as mark. Okay, I name it as with the as mark, and after that we have to finish that for each. So better I use it as a and. Okay, so better I make it as a and for each. Perfect. So now in particular that area I take one of the tier. Okay, I take one of the tier and then the td, that means the table data. So I use that table data. So now here first of all I want to display our grade, that means the letter grade. If you want to display that letter grade, here you have to use it with this marks. Right now we are already into the for loop. So now with this mark I want to add our grant name. If you go to our table, that means that is our mark grant, right? Into the mark grant, here you can see that is actually the grant name. So now I want to display all that our grant name. So that is our field name as a grant name. So now I want to use it as a grant. Okay, that means the grade name, so not the grant name. So that will be as a grade and the name, right? So now it should be loaded, this one, and after that I copy and then paste both of these. So that will be as a mark interval. Mark interval will be actually where actually is started and where actually it should be ended. That means our start marks and then the end marks, right? So now if you want to access it, I want to access it with the marks. So with this mark I want to access our field name as start underscore marks. Okay, maybe marks, right? Yeah, that is a marks and then the end marks. So now I want to use it the same things for our another one, that will be as a marks and that will be as end marks. Okay, end marks. Perfect. Now first of all I want to check it. Now click as a save all. Okay, I click as a save all, and now if you go there, click as a refresh. Yes, you can see all that our letter grade is now successfully loaded. All that our marks interval that is started from here and that is our ended, right? Everything is now perfectly visible in particular that area. So now I also want to display our grade point. If that means here that have also the grade point. So this grade point I want to put one of the calculated data. Okay, so here I want to put this calculated data. If you want to do that work, like here, I have already used this type of one of the things, right? I have already used that as a number format. Remember, I have used it into the mark view page. Into the view page I have used it, right? So that is a mark format, then the float, then the value. So now that will be just like that same. Here I want to actually use it. So better I copy it, and now in our mark PDF, so here I want to paste it. Okay, and that will be as a number format, and the number format that will be as a float. So right now not that value, because of all right now we are into the for loop, that will be as a mark. So now with this mark I want to access our grant point, that means the grade point. So that is our grade point is perfect, and after that will be as a 2 decimal, right? So here I have already changed it. Like if you click as a browse, now you can see I have already removed that as a 0. I didn't refresh it for the reasons actually is visible our previous one. So now that will be automatically added as a that is a 5 grade, and after that 5 grade that is a 00. So now that is our 00 will be visible, right? And here I want to put one of the conditions. Like here I take it, I show you, then everything will be very clear to you what exactly the things I want to do on here. So after that I want to take another field. Okay, that means another option. So with this mark, our grade point, grade underscore point, that is our field, right? So with this grade point, when it should be as a equal 5, okay, when it should be equal 5, then it should be do something another work. Like here I want to make it with the first bracket. So with the first bracket here else I want to add another condition. Okay, with this color condition, and I want to add that with our this same, that means our this same. I copy it, and after this I put that condition, I put that as a number. Better I put a little bit into the left side, this one. Okay, that is our format. And the mark grade, when it should be as a 5, and it should be as a number format, and the float, and with this float that is a mark, and grade point will be as a 2. Okay, that will be as a 2, and also after that I want to use that another one will be same. I paste it, so that is a number format will be as a float, and with this mark there is a grade point. I want to make it as a grade point will be increased, so that is a grade point. After that grade point I want to use it as a plus, okay, +1, and then the 2, and then also I want to use it another float. I want to use another float, and this float will be, I make it as a 0.01, so that will be our last one. Perfect. So here I want to visible these things like that way. So now let's check this out. If you click as a save all, and now if you go there, now click as a refresh, yes, you can see our grade point is now successfully updated. So I have put one of the condition as a 5 to 5, and you can see everything is now perfectly great, right? So that is a grade point. I have declared that things with the number format, and there is a float, the mark, the grade point will be as a 2, and then it will be started. I put one of the condition that when it should be as equal 5, then it should be displayed this one, okay, else it should be display our this portion. So this portion will be automatically incremented, and then I put that as our AND one. So that is actually our last one as 0.01, so that will be as our last calculated data. Okay, so far right now everything is looking great. So here we successfully did that work. So now that is our AND for each, okay, and that is our T body, and that is our T body, and then the call, there is another one. So I have take the 2 call 6, right, there is a call MD6, and then our second row. I hope friend it's not much very complicated to you. So that is the actually same format we have to apply for creating that mark sheet. So it's a little bit a lot of the things you have to actually add it. So right now better I want to do in our next video, I want to pause that video. I will actually create total file, and then I will explain it one by one, okay, rather than actually it may take a lot of the time to finish this design portion. So I think at that point you already know how that all that functionality. So that is all that basic functionalities. It's not much very high grade things. So I think at that point you should know about it. Okay. So right now there is our another call. That means another second row. So friend, better as I told you, I pause that video, and then I will write some of the code and will complete the total design, and then we will add it, and step by step I will explain everything with you. Okay. So thanks for watching. I will see you in the next video.